Hello, greetings from Explore Vortex. In this video, we will discuss the Vietnam War, which was one of the bloodiest wars of the 20th century and was fought not only on land and in the air, but also underground in Vietnam. A complex network of underground tunnels, a vast labyrinth that became an essential part of the Viet Cong's tactics, was located beneath the rural communities and impenetrable jungles. These underground passageways served as crucial hiding places, communication channels, shelters, and supply lines during the battle. This documentary explores the beginnings, development, and importance of these subterranean networks, showing how the tunnels affected the outcome of the conflict and are still recognized as historical sites today. The tunnel system's history. Although Vietnam is not the only country that has used tunnels for military purposes, the size and sophistication of the Vietnamese tunnel networks were unmatched. These tunnels were first constructed in opposition to French colonial forces during the First Indochina War, 1946 to 1954. The communist-led rebel group known as the Viet Minh started digging tunnels to stockpile supplies and avoid French patrols. However, the tunnels were a crucial component of guerrilla fighting during the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. The Cu Chi tunnels, the most well-known of these networks, were built in Ho Chi Minh City's, formerly Saigon's, Cu Chi district. What began as a few small hiding places grew into a 250-kilometer, 155-mile underground city. In the Central Highlands, the Mekong Delta, and close to the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, separating North and South Vietnam, other sizable tunnel networks were constructed. Constructing the underground maze building these tunnels was a difficult undertaking. The Viet Cong soldiers and local peasants excavated the tunnels with remarkable accuracy, using only shovels, hoes, and their bare hands. Because of the clay and laterite-rich soil composition in Cu Chi, strong tunnels that could endure bombs and intense above-ground movement were made possible. Some of the tunnels were as deep as 10 meters, 33 feet, and they were frequently excavated in layers. In order to avoid enemy penetration, they were created with trapdoors, disguised entrances, and air vents to ensure ventilation. Their living quarters, kitchens, hospitals, storage rooms, and command centers added to their strategic complexity. The presence of water wells in certain tunnels allowed their residents to stay below for extended periods of time without coming to the surface. The tunnels function in combat. The tunnels were essential to the Viet Cong's military strategy and survival, serving as more than just a place to hide. Before retribution, soldiers could travel covertly, ambush enemy forces, and vanish underground. Additionally, by creating supply routes, the tunnels made it possible for fighters deep within enemy territory to receive food, medicine, and weaponry. Guerrilla fighters and the North Vietnamese Army, NVA, were able to coordinate easily thanks to the Ho Chi Minh Trail, a huge network of highways and footpaths that connected North Vietnam with Laos and Cambodia. The Viet Cong were able to quickly withdraw underground, sabotage South Vietnamese and American forces, and conduct surprise attacks thanks to the tunnels, the American reaction and the difficulties of tunnel warfare. For both South Vietnamese and American soldiers, the existence of these tunnels presented a serious obstacle. An enemy that could disappear beneath the soil was impossible to defeat using conventional fighting techniques. The U.S. military thereupon created specialist troops called tunnel rats, soldiers assigned to traverse and clear the tunnels. These tunnel rats, who were usually diminutive in stature and carried only a knife, flashlight, and pistol, slithered through the cramped, dark tunnels while dodging enemy fighters, booby traps, and poisonous beasts. Many suffered horrifying deaths as a result of chemical attacks, punji stick traps, or direct encounters with Viet Cong soldiers who were waiting. The tenacious Viet Cong swiftly adjusted, mending damaged tunnels and coming up with new strategies to thwart enemy tactics, in spite of attempts to destroy the tunnels with explosives, water, and chemical agents like napalm. Until the conclusion of the war, the tunnels remained an impregnable fortress. Underground life was hard and relentless for those who lived inside the tunnels. Extreme physical and psychological difficulties were brought on by the cramped quarters, lack of sunlight, and ongoing fear of being discovered. Diseases like diarrhea and malaria were common, and food was in short supply. Special chimneys that spread smoke far from the tunnel openings were used for cooking in order to evade discovery. Viet Cong fighters were able to transmit messages without warning the enemy thanks to a system of coded signals that allowed for communication within the tunnels. The combatants developed an unshakable kinship in the tunnels despite the difficulties. They persisted because of their resolve to oppose outside powers, and the underground networks came to represent tenacity and resourcefulness. The tunnel's legacy. While some tunnel networks were kept as historical sites, many others were abandoned after the war. The Cu Chi tunnels now serve as a reminder of the Vietnamese people's ingenuity and tenacity. Sections of the tunnels are open for exploration, giving visitors a first-hand look at the hardships that the soldiers who had lived below had to deal with. The tunnels serve as a reminder of the price of war and the resourcefulness needed to survive, in addition to their historical relevance. As excellent illustrations of asymmetric warfare and underground survival strategies, they have been examined by military historians, archaeologists, and engineers. One of the bloodiest conflicts in contemporary history was significantly influenced by the Vietnam War's covert tunnels. They demonstrate the Vietnamese resistance's inventiveness and tenacity by their complex design, tactical use, and fortitude in the face of enormous adversity. These underground networks continue to tell the tale of those who fought, lived, and survived beneath the earth, even though the war itself is still a bitter chapter in history. Through this investigation, we discover not only tunnels, but also the unwavering determination of their users, a legacy that lives on long after the final conflicts have vanished from the annals of history.